I am live. Hi, this is Pam Knight, your Chief Government Strategist. Welcome, government contractors and future government contractors. And this evening, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways that you can get a government contract fast. Many of you are in the beginning stage of getting a government contract or know people who have government contracts and you want to get in on that because it's a $1 trillion business, $1 trillion billion business. And these people have contracts for sometimes 3 years or 5 years. And you are leaving the money on the table if you are not a government contractor. First of all, you don't have to chase clients and wait on your money to come. Your money will come when you start billing the government, and it can start at 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures. It just depends on the amount of the award and um, what type of services you are billing for. So let's get on with it. Welcome to Winning Strategies for Government Contracts. So here we are. We're going to talk about 5 ways that you can get a government contract fast. Now, everybody wants a federal contract because that's the highest paying contract, and usually those contracts are 3 to 5 years. But the state contracts, most of them are beginning to do 5 years as well. Now, when I started government contracting with the state, they were 3 years, but I believe most of them are now 5 years. And I should say that because we've had contracts with the federal and other with a federal level as well as with the others. So, number one, federal is the top paying government contract, but sometimes that takes a little while and competition is real stiff. And if you don't write one of these banging proposals and um, price it so that you stay in competition, it may take you a while. Okay. Number two, the state. Whatever state you live in, they have government contracts. So you need to make sure that you get with your state. With that being said, you want to make sure that you get your MBE, which is your Minority Business Enterprise. Each state has an MBE. And with the MBE, your county, your city, and your local usually will, what they call, will recognize you being a minority business enterprise. And sometimes the solicitation will say, do you have your MBE? They'll ask you for your number and you put that down, and then they can verify that you are a minority business enterprise. Now, let me also say sometimes, not all the times, but it has happened to me when I was bidding on a state contract as an MBE, even though my prices were higher than what they were looking for, but because I was an MBE, they awarded me the contract. Yes. And that's why I say, if whatever state you live in, check your government for the state and make sure you find out how you can become an MBE in your state. Because if there's nothing in the federal government, you can look to your state. And with that being said, with the state, you have your county. Look for county government contracts. Look for city government contracts. Look for local contracts. Also look for your schools because a lot of the schools is public, so those are government contracts as well. All right. So I just don't want you to just be hung up on federal because that's a huge, huge organization. And you can bid on those if they have something that your NAT code can write a proposal on. But also look for state, county, city, and local so that there are other ways that you can keep your revenue going strong, just not looking for, just if you just only look for a federal contract. So we want to do federal, state, county, city, and local. And sometimes they have bonds and grants, and sometimes they have diversity programs. So look within your state to see what's going on because that could be your past performance. If you, I mean, any work that you've done in your work as being a professional worker with your current job, if it's the same NAT codes as what your professional job is, then you have past performance. Mhm. So the thing is, how do you write it so it looks like you have past performance? So anyway, so I want you to do that for me. Um, I was at a networking event last night, and one of the big, uh, I would say, one of the big people, one of the big companies that was there was MGM. And then some. Then we had another company, some other small companies that were there. But basically, some of the government people were there as well. And back in the day, when I used to do a lot of government networking, I would always bring some of the government procurement people to my networking events so that they could talk to the small businesses and network with them, and so they can give them tips and strategies. But usually they wind up coming back to me because they needed the help to get themselves off the ground and get going. So I want you to make sure. I've gotten a lot of questions about this, like Miss Knight, Pam, whatever they call me. How else can I get a government contract if federal doesn't come through? State, make sure you get your MBE. And what I want to say about that is, while you waiting on doing government contracting, go get your certification now. So when you start to work and you see something, you'll have your certification. You don't have to wait on it. So start doing that now. Get your stuff up, get your butt up, and start looking into the certifications that'll help you win a contract. So we're doing federal, state, county, city, and local. And sometimes in those solicitations, they want to make sure that you are certified by your state, and the state will, and those other city, state, county, whatever, will recognize your MBE if it is required. And also look for the schools. If you got some educational background, always try your public schools for that. And you might see some solicitations with working with the public schools. And if you're into that field with your NACO, of course, the state have different types of codes that you can use. But I'm just saying, I want you all to be able to make sure when you are ready, you're able to dip into the federal, your state, your county, your city, and your local school. All right, on your local area. I shouldn't say local school, but also the schools is another good way of getting government contracts. Okay, so I wanted to come on briefly and talk about that. I hope that helps. Now, I also wanted to say that if you haven't scheduled your free strategy call, you still can get that free strategy call. You only get that once. Then, if there's anything else you want to talk to us about, we have now coaching calls, and those coaching calls will are not just things that are, happenstance. Those are actual coaching calls where we'll give you the actual thing that you need to do based on the time limit that you have. And if you don't want to go through the course. Now, that doesn't mean that you might be government ready. But if you want to just do coaching calls, those are available now for you if going through the course is a bit much, or going through the course is not what you really want to do. But when you work with our team, we want to make sure you're government ready, government competitive, because my proposal writers are going to be looking for you to be ready so that if we work with you for the very first time, hopefully we can get you a government contract on your very first shot. It has happened to me, and it could happen to some of you. So, and if you want to use proposal writers on the outside, that's great. If you know those people, that's what you do. Trust the people who can help you write your proposal and can help you price. So pricing is a big deal, but here's the thing. Your proposal may look good, but if your pricing is out of range, you won't get it unless they come back and say, we want your best and final offer. And that's called a BAFO, your best and final offer. And then that will determine whether or not you will still be in the running to be awarded a contract. So that's one of the other things I wanted to tell you. So what I want you to do is start looking in your state as well as federal. If you see solicitations with the NAT codes that you're interested in, get kicking. If you don't need any other training for government contracts, then go for it. Okay. All right. So this is Pam Knight, your Chief Business Strategist, and I want to see you do well. Let me know. I would love to talk to you about it, and maybe you can give some other insights on what you've been doing to help you win a government contract. See you next time. Bye bye.